All right, you can go live.
We're buying a present for what?
No.
Someone say, hold on, how much money do you need?
All right, welcome to some new faces. You're not new. When I first came to Eretz Yisrael, I rented an apartment from you for a year. So, okay.
We're still suffering.
You know what? It's not a joke. I rented Mendy's apartment. He says that since then he has a pigeon problem. I never lived there a day. I rented the apartment for a year, paid him for a year. No, it's my fault that he has pigeons. Rabbi Isai, it's a tremendous simcha. Last night, for those of you who haven't been there, weren't there, some of you had chasas, bar mitzvahs, even Yeshua had a problem last night. We had an amazing siyum on Seder Kachim. 560 daf that we did together. It was a tremendous maimed. The food was amazing. Chaim is so tired he couldn't show up now, but he did a great job with the brisket, and we had sholent, and it was a great time. We had a great video, audio presentation of Harabayis from Shlomo Goren, not related to Rabbi Goren. So it was a great evening. It was a tremendous chizuk for everybody. Tremendous Hakaras HaTov to Noam Fix for organizing it and hosting it in his home. To Avi Kamiansky for sponsoring coming up with this crazy idea. Now what happened was, those of you, I see Nachman Seltzer sitting here, he doesn't know what happened. It's the first time in history that a Magid Shir of a Daf Yomi received this kind of present. What was the present? And by the way, this is the only picture I have today. A live sheep. They gave me a live sheep, and they shechted it on the spot and presented me with all the meat as a gift. Be'ezer Hashem, I'm donating all the meat to our siyum of this Masechtas Niddah. Be'ezer Hashem, in just a few months, we're going to have lamb chops, etc. So it was a very unique gift, very up my alley. They know me well. That's my style. And of course, I had to give the sheep a kiss, like I kissed the lion, and I kissed the seal, and all that other stuff. But before we begin, I just want to say, Echad B'nei HaChabura, one of the guys that sits with us, a very humble individual, a person that I sat next to for over 3 years, every single day. Nobody here knows, but Leiby David made a siyum hashas last night. He didn't tell a single person. I had a schus to be there for a few minutes, right as we were starting our siyum. I ran over there because they coincided. Had we known, we would have deferred our siyum. But since he didn't tell anybody, so I had no way of knowing that he was making the siyum hashas. I sit next to him every single day, like I said, with Yedidya Kramer. He's a huge masmid. He never speaks during Seder. And we could take a lesson from him. He started Masechtas Niddah and finished Shas yesterday. If you're starting today, it's a tremendous opportunity. You don't have to start in Masechtas Brachas. You can start in the middle of Masechta and make a siyum hashas. And with that, Rabbi, so let's start the final Masechta in Shas, the only Masechta in Seder Tyrus in terms of Gemara. So, we all know what a Niddah is. We're talking now about a Niddah and how she relates to food, to Haris, not so much to her husband. That we're going to discuss a different time. What's going on here is a woman does a b'dika, she does an examination, and she sees dam. Okay, she sees dam. When is she tummy? Is she tummy this second? Or perhaps that dam was hanging out in her body for a number of days, maybe 2 months. And everything she touched, we're talking about Taharis, she was dealing with food, kachim. Anything she touched prior to that might also be tummy. So what's the halacha? And like everything else, we have a three-way machloikis. Shammai Yomer. Shammai says, by the way, I also want to welcome one of my favorite friends. I really missed him a lot, and that is Rashi. Because up until now we had Mata, who just walked in, Menachem Mata, fighting with me about the Mefarish and about this. No more fights. We're back to Rashi. Baruch Hashem. I really missed him a lot. For Masechtas, I don't even know how many Masechtas we didn't have him, and he's back. So, Shama Yomer Kol Anoshim Dayon Shaton. In other words, if a woman does a b'dika and she sees dam right now she's tamei. A minute before that b'dika, she is tahar. We have to assume that when she sees dam, that's when the dam came out. Now, we need to understand 5 minutes. We need to understand that a woman becomes tamei as soon as the blood leaves the uterus. It could still hang out in the canal it doesn't have to come out of her body. As it leaves the uterus, then she becomes tummy. So it could be there for 6 weeks until she noticed it. Shami says no. Shami says if she just noticed it now, that's when it came out, not a minute before. Why? The Gemara is going to bring 4 reasons, and today we're only going to see 1. Says the Mishnah Vayter, Hillel's very machmer. He's the most machmer. Shami is the most makel. He says, right now, everything before, prior, all the food she touched before is tar. Hillel says, no. Everything she touched prior could be a year before, it's all tameh. In other words, you go back to the last time she did an examination. If she came out tar last month, so from that examination until now, everything else is tameh. We have to assume that a minute after she did her last examination, that's when she saw dam again. She just didn't see it because she didn't do an examination. Yes, I apologize again. We are not live yet, even though we have 1,000 subscribers. Last time that we had 1,000 subscribers, it took a couple of days. So hopefully that's what it is. You can continue to subscribe, continue to get your friends to subscribe, because we need well over 1,000 in order not to fall below the 1,000 point. All right. And meanwhile, Noam and Menachem discuss when we're doing Shir and Shabbos. So we're just going to do it before Mincha, and after that we change the clocks, we'll go back to Matzah Shabbos. So what time is Mincha? We'll figure it out in a few minutes. And we definitely need 45 minutes. We need 45 minutes for Shir and Shabbos at least.
On the chart it says 4:45.
Oh, it already says when our Shir is? Okay. 4:45 at Bnei Yeshivas on Shabbos. Okay.
I don't know if that's going to be enough time.
That's 40 minutes.
It is what it is. Okay. Says the Mishnah, Hillel remember Pkido Pkido. Va'afilu liyomim harbe. Says Hillel, even if it's many days, it's possible that the blood was in the canal, just was hanging out there. We don't want to be makel like Shammai. We don't want to be machmer like Hillel. We're going to do something in between. It's a 24-hour limit. It doesn't make sense that blood was there for 5 days. 24 hours is our limit. Now, it could be less than 24 hours if she did a b'dika in between. So it's either from the last b'dika, which makes a lot of sense, and there's no chiddush in that really, the Gemara is going to discuss, or 24 hours, that's it. It's either 24 hours, and that limits the an examination. So if you did examination 3 months ago, we don't care. It's just you go back 24 hours. However, if you do an examination, it takes away from the 24 hours. I can go even less than 24 hours if there was a b'dika within the 24 hours. Kol isha sheyesh lo veses. Veses. If a woman has a regular period, says Rashi, 3 times, she's seeing dam, either at the exact, we're talking about veses now, not chazaka. It could be it's because of chazaka. Either she saw it every single month on the same day. In other words, she saw it on Gimel Tishrei, Gimel Cheshvan, Gimel Kislev, at 12 o'clock, let's say. So now she could assume that the following month she's going to see it on the 3rd day of that month at 12 o'clock. Or she sees it every 31 days, 30 days, 28 days. It could go by the month, it could go by the days. The point is, it's very regular, and she's anticipating it at a certain time. So Mamela, once she has a veses, dayashato. So when she sees dam at 12 o'clock on the 3rd day of the month, she has no reason to believe that there was dam there yesterday, because she already saw it 3 times like this. This is the 4th time. So Mamela, she's only tameh from this point forward, and the food that she touched beforehand, she's tar. Vamishameshes bi'idim harezu kifkida. We're all adults here. When I was reading this, it hit me. 2 goyim approached me once in New York. Without busha, they said, "Is it true that you guys use sheets?" They asked me the full question. I'm not going to get into it. When I was reading this, I realized maybe that's why some guy read this Mishnah. It says, "V'amishameshes bi'idim." If a person has relations with a sheet, So meaning that there's a inyan, there's a concept of somebody doing a check, a examination before relations and after relations. So they took this literally, that the whole relations is with sheets. It means before and after. Edim. It's a lotion of a cloth. Not edim. You don't have edim standing there. You do a check. You see if this dam before, and you see if this dam afterwards, and then memela, you know she's tar or not. Now, v'amshameshes bi'idim harezu. That's not the sugya now, but we'll get into it. V'amshameshes bi'idim harezu kipkida. So that's, what's the Mishnah telling us? What's the chiddush here? That it's considered an examination. Okay, she did an examination. No, it's a big chiddush. Because this is a weak examination. And what's interesting is that the Maram, I think it is, points out, Rashi says here that they did two checks. Before, when the Mishnah talks about Pekida, about examinations, Rashi says they do two checks. So one of the Achronim points out that maybe Rashi's saying that it's because Chachamim instituted the check. That makes it a better examination. What do I mean by that? The Mishnah now is saying that if you have relations and you do an examination, it's considered an examination. She did an examination. The answer is no, because maybe she was rushed. Maybe there was other fluids involved and it contaminated the examination. So there's a reason to say that it's not an examination. Says the Mishnah, that is considered an examination. It's a good examination. What they're saying in Rashi is also, maybe it's not a good examination. If Chachamim don't tell you to do an examination and you decide on your own, I want to be machmer today, I want to do an examination, maybe that's not considered an examination. When Chachamim tell you, institute, if you're going to be oisik with taharis, you're cooking food that kohanim are going to eat, and you must do 2 examinations a day, that gives it power, that gives it a real examination. Anyways, that's what some of the Achronim say. So this is considered a proper examination. According to Chachamim, because once I have a proper exam, sorry, there's no charge for you.
I can pass you your water.
But you're always welcome here. And Memela, this examination has the ability to render her tar from this point forwards, and we don't say that perhaps she was tamei before the examination. Keitzad dayashato. Now, either it's going according to what we said before, that if a woman has a veses kavua, a woman sees dam every single month at the same exact time, she's in a real cycle, and we say dayashato, that we don't say that she was tummy beforehand. This gives us an indication that she just became tummy now, because last month and the month before she became tummy at 12 o'clock on the 3rd day, so today also. How did it happen, says the Mishnah? And according to Shammai, anyways, Shammai says, forget about Veses. The first Manda Omer in our Mishnah, Shammai says, no matter when a woman does a bedika, she's tummy from that point forward. And you don't go backwards. We don't look backwards. She's not tummy beforehand. What happened? Says the Mishnah, she was sitting down on a couch, relaxing, doing cooking. She was oisek with food. Uparsha, she got up, and she did a bdika of a rasa, and then she saw dam, hitmeya behinta hayros. We have to assume that it happened from that point on, according to Shammai. And if she has a vesikavua, it happened from that point on because she has like a chazaka. She has a vesikavua. There's no reason to believe that it happened beforehand. Avalpi sha'amru mitamo meisleis. Now the Mishnah says we are only talking about food. So even though we said that if she doesn't have a veses, according to Chachamim, right? The Mishnah is picking one shita. According to Chachamim, the middle shita. When is a woman tummy when she sees dam? You go back 24 hours. You don't go back 6 months like Hillel. You don't start from that point like Shammai. You go back to 24 hours. But we're talking about me'es la'es ein amayna ela mishar sharasa. However, for a Niddah, to start counting how many days, 7 days of Tahara, etc., that starts from right now. When we're discussing food, what became Tameh, what a Kohen has to be careful from, that's 24 hours back. In terms of her Tumah, her being Tameh, her counting, being a Niddah, that starts from right now. That's what the Mishnah says. In other words, we're talking about Sfekas here. Yossi, in the new building you're going to have a proper seat, but until the new building, what? Okay. Listen, the upfront seats cost money. We're
going to have name tags.
We're supposedly going to.
Names.
Gershon says no. I say yes.
This is like
you have to chop seats now.
Hey, buy seats.
We'll sell them.
We have to sell seats. And if you don't come for 2 days, then you lose your seat for like 2 weeks.
Penalties, you say.
By the way, I had an unbelievable. I'm thinking a siyat shmaya. If you guys want to be mishtated with this idea, I see Yisrael Mez already smiling. Gary loves it. We were in the building yesterday in the new place, and right when you walk in, there's bathrooms and a kitchen. And then I thought to myself, maybe we could have like a peanut gallery, like a suite at a football game. In other words, there'll be a ladder, and there'll be like a little loft, and you could sit on top of the loft like in a relaxing chair. The guys like to relax. The guys like to chill. There'll be a couple of massage chairs there, some couches, and they could be in the gallery, look over and the shir. So the kablan, and listen to Ari. The kablan I called. Rabbi says, just so you understand how chashiv this building is to this kablan. The kablan called me up in the morning. He says in the hospital he's having a censure. How do you say censure in English? A stent. Stent. So he can't really talk to me. And I'm at the side. All of a sudden he shows up. So I walk over and I said, "You're a liar. You weren't in the hospital. It's impossible. You had a stent this morning, and you're in the hospital." So he picks up his shirt, and he had an electrode still attached to his thing, and he had blood, and he came directly from the hospital there. And he told me you can't do a gallery. It's not mechubad. Everybody has to sit on the same level.
You needed him to tell you that?
But he doesn't understand the geschmack of the shir. He doesn't understand. He Pasha doesn't understand. Okay, anyways, let's go weiter. Says the Gemara. What?
Sunday we can do pushing.
We can do it here.
Let's see what happens.
Let's stay here.
Nachman Seltz is sitting in front, first seat. He says we could stay here. What about the guy all the way in the back?
Sit over here next to us.
I don't care, fine. We don't care about that guy. Yossi, bye-bye.
Yossi came at what time? We don't worry about Yossi.
All right, Zok the Gemara. My time in the Bishamai. My time in the Shammai. We have to understand what's going on with Shammai. Shammai says you do a bdika now. You can't talk over me. I can't hear myself.
Okay, go up to the loft. It's fine, no problem.
I'll say from the loft. You guys sit in the bottom.
On the couch.
Okay. Shammai says a woman does a bdika now. We don't have to be concerned what happened 1 minute ago. The blood came right now. That's also very hard to understand. So the Gemara is going to give us 4 answers. Today we're doing 1 only. Don't worry. My time is the Shammai. Kosovar Hamid Isha Acheskosa. She has a chazaka. There's a concept called a cheskas mikara. Where was she up until this point? She was tar. Now you found a chesar in her. You found that she has dam. You have to understand that it just happened this minute. Everything up until that point, it's all assumptions. We don't know anything. So you have to use chazaka. You have to assume what was her status up until this point. Up until this point, she was tar. Let's continue it up until this point, and not a minute earlier. The issue with that is that we have other things in Shas that don't really jive with this. And that's what we have to figure out. How does this work with a mikvah? How does this work with a barrel of wine? Etc. Yeah?
Did Shammai get into trouble with all the people say it was machmir?
Of course.
Over here is very mekel, yeah.
He's being machmir and so biased.
They would have kicked him out of the show.
All right, Zog the Gemara, Kasova Hamidisha Cheskasa. V'isha becheskas tahira imedes. And a woman has a chazaka, she's tahir. What's the issue? What's the logical issue with what the Gemara just says? If you had a problem, what would you say? The Gemara says that a woman has a chazaka that she's tahir. What's the next logical step?
She gets tummy all the time.
Oh, very good, Nachum. Very good. You heard? A woman always ruins that chazaka. She's not like tar. She's not like a kli that stays. This is tar. Okay, that's a chazaka. A woman naturally becomes tamei, And that's basically what the Gemara is going to say. That's a little bit of a problem. Fine. The Hillel, so it's a very good, it's a very strong. There's a chazak here. What does Hillel say? Ki yamrin hamidova cheskaso. When you say that something has a chazaka, heicha de lesle reus migufe. When there's nothing, like basically as the Gemara is going to explain, there's no chesaron coming out of herself. Avalitza. Ki even the migufa kachazio, since this tumah came out of her own body. Explains Rashi. It doesn't really fit into the words. But Rashi says, mu'edes, she's a mu'ad. Every month the same thing happens. She becomes tummy over and over and over. So what are you telling me? That she has a chazaka, she was tar. It's a very weak chazaka. It's a chazaka that we call asuy lishtanois. Chazaka asuy lishtanois. It's a chazaka that we know every 30 days is going to change. So Mamela, maybe it changed before she did this bdika. So why would you say that she's tar up until the point of the bdika? We have a very weak chazaka. Such a chazaka, says Hillel, doesn't apply to us. Shammai argues, obviously, but Hillel says that's not a good chazaka. Now ask the Gemara two questions, one from Mikvah and one from a barrel of wine. Mikvah. Why is this any different than a mikvah, the snan? Mikvah shenimdad. You found a mikvah of an imsa chaser. You had a mikvah that had 40 saw, and you were toivel all your kalim for tumah, for taharis. You want to make sure that the kalim are tar for kachim. You put the kalim inside the mikvah, and you continue doing it. All of a sudden, one day you decide, let me take a measurement, and you find out that you're missing from the 40 saw. It's not 40 saw. So again, same question. When did this happen? You just measured this minute, so maybe I could assume it happened right now, this minute, or maybe no, it happened a month ago. And you have to go backwards and tell all the kohanim that they ate all the trumas that we did. Leave it. You can't do anything with the truma. Maybe it's a suffix truma like we had until now. Suffix by us means you don't burn it because it's us to burn truma just because it's a suffix. You can't eat it either. What's that halacha? Called taharish and nasu agaba v'lemafreya. Anything that you did in that mikvah, any kli that you were toivel, bein b'shus harabim, bein b'shus hayachad. This is very strong because we have a concept that suffix tuma b'shus harabim tar. Again, if you have something that's a suffix, you don't know if it's tummy or not, you have a doubt, it depends where it is. If it's in a private domain, it's tummy. If it's in a public domain, it's tar. Just forget logic. There's no logic, it's tumah. That is the halacha. If it's in a public domain, it's tar. But over here it says, I don't care if it's in a public domain.
So the chiddush is ben versus Rabbi. And it could have said,
yeah.
It could have just said a filu versus Rabbi.
Right. The chiddush is versus Rabbi. And what is it telling me? That this has a status of vadai, not suffix. Because if it had a status of suffix, in Rishus Harabim would be tar. But the fact is, it's telling me that in Rishus Harabim, Tameos, anything, anywhere that these kalim are, they're tameh. Meaning, I know for a fact. So that's much worse than by us. Because by us, we were only saying that this woman is tameh, this Niddah, everything she touches is tameh, but only a suffix. How do I know it's a suffix? Because I can't burn it. If it's a vadai, she's a vadai tameh Niddah, so what she touched a day ago, according to Hillel, according to Chachamim, within 24 hours, you'd have to take it and burn it because it's a vadei tamei. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't eat it. Be machmer, put it on the side. You can't burn it because it's also to burn truma just because you don't know. But you can't eat it. Over here it says no. By a mikvah, we know for a fact we're saying that it's a vadei tamei. Shammai says that by a niddah she's not tamei at all before. And according to Hillel, it's kashya because Hillel says it's only gzera d'Rabbanan, but it doesn't have a status of vadai tamei on the fruit, on the food. And over here we're saying that even in Rishus Harabim it's tamei, meaning that we don't view it as a savi, you view it as a vadai tamei. So what is the difference between a woman and a mikvah? We're dealing here with chazakas. What is the previous status? What's the difference if we're looking at a human being or we're looking at a mikvah? The ilu meis leis shebenida toilim. By us in our Mishnah, we said toilim, you hang, you don't know what to do. You're in between, you don't know what to do. So lo yoichnev leisarfim, you don't eat the food and you don't burn the food. In other words, it's just a suffix gzera d'Rabbanan. V'lo hacha b'baya mikvah tuma vadai, because I burned this food, that shows me that we treat it as a vadai tamei. So the Gemara tries different things. until we get to the one pshat that's going to accompany us through the sugya, at least for today and even into tomorrow. Over there, you could say that maybe the kli that entered the mikvah, there's no tefillah on it. Adarabba, hamid mikvah cheskasi, the opposite. Say the mikvah had a good chazaka. I checked it on Sunday. It had 40 saw. So Mamela, it's a good mikvah. It's a proper mikvah. It has a chazaka. Let's continue the chazaka up until the point that you made a new examination. You checked. You measured a new measurement. Ve'ima loy chasar. Hari chasar lefanecha. I can't say that it's not missing because right now it is missing. Hochanami. So they use the same logic by us. Hari dam lefanecha. So then make her also a vadai. Just like right now, we don't have 40 saw, and that's why you're telling me that the food is 100% tameh, burn it. So by a woman also, here, she is a niddah. She has blood right now. She should be 100% tameh, going backwards also. Says the Gemara, Hashu d'chazai. Oh, you just found it now. It just became missing. Now, that is a little bit of a problem. Because water doesn't just evaporate instantaneously. You're not going to find that chisaron right now. Blood could just come out. Boom. It's there. But a chisaron in mikvah takes some time, and that's what the Gemara addresses. The way it works is it takes time for water to evaporate. And memela what? What is the Gemara trying to say here? Hillel, I'm not used to you over there. You, Hillel. You belong over here. You gotta come earlier. Okay, back up on him. I didn't say you asked a question. Okay, stay over there. I'm not gonna say anything from now on. Right. Okay, ask your kasha. What's your kasha?
Isn't there a better chazaka?
You could ask. It's already 5 minutes. But you, no.
What's the thing that you have to mention? If the baby is tameh,
Yeah.
how are you going to base on the fact was the mikvah kosher or not? So we have to say that the etz and the kli was tameh until the latest time, but with the isha shenach kashas before.
What's the difference? A kli, but we're talking about a mikvah. Is the mikvah? Okay, so let's wait. The Gemara might be saying what you're saying. All right. What are you saying?
Don't we say that a mikvah, from the last time we checked, as a chazaka that
No, we're saying it's tameh. We're saying it's tameh. Everything in it is tameh by a mikvah. From the last time we checked up until now, it's all tameh. Why is it different than a woman? It should be from the last time we checked. According to Shammai, it should just be from this point on. Yeah, why? Oh, you're using Hillel's svara that a woman has because it comes from her body. I hear. Good point. So, but let me just get to the point. The point is, if you say that a mikvah takes time to lose its measurement, what does that say? That says that the chazaka is a very weak chazaka. Because the chazaka started losing its status last week. As the first drop of water started to evaporate, that weakens the chazaka, says the Gemara. The chazaka is starting to evaporate with that first evaporation. It's not a strong chazaka. Right now we find the mikveh that's chaser. Hey, this didn't happen today. This happened. It's a long process to evaporate. Memela, the chazaka started becoming weak. Itra chazaka. It's a weak chazaka. Why? Because it took time. Because as it started to evaporate, think about it physically. You have 40 saw, now one drop went up into the air. I just weakened my chazaka. I just said, hey, whatever I had until now is getting weak. It's not as strong. It's not metal. It's not iron. It's evaporation. It's water.
Good, at least 24 hours back though.
Okay, but it's a start of a weakening.
Is there a difference between evaporation or leak, or every time you turn the table, you lose a few drops?
No, okay, so we're not going into that.
That's where most of that's where they.
Yeah, okay, that's another reason why. Yeah, That's more of a technical. Now you're talking about more technical, and were there people there? Were there kalim there? I'm talking about the mikvah was never. It's your mikvah, your private mikvah. You check the ones. You're not going to go into all this other stuff. Who used it and the heat from the heater and all this stuff. Natural stuff, natural causes. But by a woman, it's not a long process. She sees dam and she becomes tamei. Says the Gemara, no. My kushya dilma hagas chazite. Rashi says the Gemara borrowed this lashon from Shvius or something, but the point of the Gemara is that perhaps it was a slow process by a woman. There was small drops, and you just noticed it now when they accumulated together and they came out completely. But from the uterus, a tiny little drop came out. Just like you have a tiny drop of condensation, of evaporation. So you have a tiny drop.
The time is that when there's so much inside that it can no longer contain it.
Right.
Then it starts to come out.
But what's
And then it will
inside?
come out loud.
But we have to. What's inside? There's a step before inside. There's the uterus, then there's inside, then there's outside. Once it leaves the uterus, that's when she becomes tamei. Even that one little drop. You didn't see it until it got together. It was a big lot. Then it came out. It pulled it all out. Then there was gravity, and it worked. Fine. Now says the Gemara what the Gemara is trying to accomplish from the onset, and this is what we're going with the whole time, and maybe he'll allude to this pshat. Hasam iketarte l'reusa, hacha ikechad l'reusa. This is a big difference. What's the difference between a mikvah and a woman? A woman has one problem. She's a niddah. She's sodam. A mikvah has two problems. You have to view the mikvah, it's missing water, but you also have to view the kli that went into mikvah, which was tamei prior to going to the mikvah. So the kli was tamei, and you want to say that maybe it became tar by toiling. No, it has a chazakah by itself. It has a chazakah of tumah. And the mikvah that you're viewing right now is also is problematic because it's missing water. So you have two problems. Two problems create what? A vadai. That's why we consider all food, all utensils that went into this mikvah as tamei vadai. Whereas by the woman, she only has one issue. One issue is not enough to make her a vadai. She remains a suffix. And that, Rabbi Isai, is going to be the answer. And now we have a sugya that basically repeats itself almost word for word. Once we did this, we know the following sugya. And we're going to have the concept tomorrow as well. Maishna mechavis. Another question. Question is on Shammai. Shammai says a woman who sees dam, she's tamei only from this point forward. Is that a hint? Oh, it's for you. Okay, thanks. Right, I'll take this. Shkoyach. By the way, Avi Kamiansky, who sponsored a great deal of last night, he big tzaddik. In middle of the siyum, he had to catch a flight. So I'm saying not only he was very busy with flying and he's traveling a lot, but Afal Pikain he sponsors, so it's a tremendous thing. Thank you, Avi. He's not going to be watching this, but anyways, thank you. Al Koponim says the Mishnah, Maishna Mechavis. Why is our Mishnah of a woman different than the concept by a barrel? So what happens by a barrel? We have a lot of people do this today as well. If you eat fruit and you want to be mafresh trumas and maisrus, all you need to do is, even in your head, you don't have to say anything. In your head, you can do b'machshava, say, look, that barrel that's sitting on the side, I want that to be my truma. And therefore I can eat whatever I'm eating now. You don't do it on Shabbos, you do it a weekday. If you say it, it's even better. Right? That's what people do. If they're not so sure about the hechsher, so they say, I'm mafresh for over there. Now, we're going according to the Manda Omer that says, I cannot use a barrel of vinegar for my wine. I have to use wine for wine. We had this machlokes in one of the Masechtas, I don't remember anymore, we just had it recently. And recently, I mean in the last year or two. And it could be last week. It's all one thing by me. So, Daf Yomi, very good, we're going to start using that thing. Shkoyach. So, what happened was, he checked the barrel, meaning he tasted the barrel, it was wine. 2 weeks later, he tastes the barrel and it's vinegar. When did it change? Same exact kasha that we have by a mikvah, same exact kasha that we have by a woman, but we're talking about a woman now. When did it change? When did the status change from tamei to tar? Now, the difference by wine, it takes some time. It takes 3 days at least to turn to vinegar. So Memela says the Gemara. This night it says in the Mishnah, he tasted the wine in his barrel, liyos mafresh alel truma, in order to use it as his source for truma. How? Even b'machshava, even in his own mind, he could say, everything I'm drinking, he's a big wine drinker, so he sets aside 1 barrel a year, he puts it in his cellar, and instead of being mafresh and making everything, he has one barrel. At the end of the year, he'll give it to the kohen. Unfortunately for him, the barrel turns sour. It's vinegar. Kol shloisha yomim vadai. 3 days is vadai. What does that mean?
It takes 3 days for it to turn.
So it's machlokes what it means. Rashi brings it down. We also learned this, probably like in Avodah Zarah somewhere. What does Rashi bring? No, in Baba Basra. Sorry, but we did learn it in Baba Basra. Did we learn Baba Basra together? No. So right before that, I learned it with Leiby. I'll go upon him. No. Here in Eretz Yisrael. Baba Basra is only 2.5 years ago. Right before Avodah Zarah. Fine. We started Avodah Zarah, so right before that. I'll go upon him. It's 2 years ago. So it says as follows: either we could assume that once you check the wine, you have 3 days. That's for sure wine, and everything in those 3 days is for sure good. Or fakert, everything from this point backwards 3 days, because it takes 3 days to become vinegar. Everything is vinegar. Oh, regardless of how you learn, it doesn't really matter to us. The point is that what happens in the times that we don't know? What do we do then? Everything in between. If you checked a month ago, so you get 3 free days. Let's say you get 3 days, but 27 days are all going to be suffik truma. You can't eat that truma. You can't do anything with it. So Kashi L'Shamai that says, okay, so 3 days, 27. Let's say you have 30 days. You checked 30 days ago. You have 27 days of a suffix. I don't care if you take the 3 days closer to the check back then, or 3 days when you check right now. But 27 days are a suffix. But according to Shammai, it should only be from the point of when you check forward. You don't go backwards at all. It's a suffix. You don't do anything. So Kashi L'Shamai says the Gemara. So we're going to go through all the steps that we just had before. Wait a minute. You have food that you weren't able to eat, and you want to use that barrel of wine in order to eat it. It didn't do its job. The opposite. You checked it was good wine, so just say it has a chazaka. It remained good until the point that you checked it. Right now, you have bad wine, so why are you using a chazaka of something that doesn't apply today? Right now, it's bad. So why is it any different according to Shammai? You have blood in front of you. If what you're viewing, if what's important is what we have today, so according to Shammai, we have a Niddah today. So go backwards. According to Shammai, everything should be tamei beforehand, and it's not. According to Shammai, it's from this point forward. But you only found the blood now. It only became chametz right now. No. It takes time to become vinegar. But by a woman, maybe she just saw dam on the spot. Yes, you could say that. Maybe she saw it over a period of time, and it just right now emerged because it took time to accumulate. And once it accumulated, it was a lot. Then it came out. Says the Gemara, Hasam, by a barrel of wine, there's 2 things going against us. A, we have food that's tevel, and we have the wine itself that's chometz. We're talking about 2 separate things. We have food that has chazak. I can't eat this food because there's no truma taken from it. So that's viewing the food. Now I'm looking at the wine. The wine is bad today. It's really bad. It's chometz. It's vinegar. It's not good for us. So 2 things together combine to make a problem of a suffix. But by us is only one thing. So the question is, do we continue on? And it's smack in the middle of a sugya. Okay, so let's continue on. Nachman l'shitasa, you continue. We have 2 minutes, so we'll do 2 minutes and whatever. We could start from the first word on Daf Gimel. It's a middle of a sugya, but it's like it's a pause.
The wine yesterday was very good.
The wine was not chometz.
Not only was it not chometz, it was excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, only the best for those who haven't there. We had Yatir Forest. So whoever knows what that is, it's a. Sponsored by?
Eli.
Who?
Sponsored by Eli.
Oh,
Sponsored by Eli's son-in-law.
thank you. But do not go back to tell him because somebody went and told him on Shabbos. Now you know why every simcha there's Yatir Forest. For those of you who haven't been here, I asked my son-in-law to buy me wine. He says there's a great deal in Piyop, in Yerushalayim. Should he buy me wine? So I write him and say, yes, buy me wine. He comes with a bill of over $2,000, not shekel, dollars. He shows up with cases of wine. So maybe there'll be a lot of Yatir Forest for the next... Okay. And then, I hope he's not watching, and then a week later he says, there's a great deal on Yatir Forest. It went from 300 shekel to 250 or something. Should I buy you one? So I write, yeah, buy me two. So he writes back, laughing out loud, on the fact that I only wanted 2 bottles. Kitzer, okay, Yatir Forest. Whoever wants Yatir Forest, come to Shas. Zog to Gemara. Umay Kushya says, Virami, let's just go for a minute here because it's already 8 o'clock. Rami Chaves Mikvah, and there's a problem that we have 2 things now that have 2 reuses. We just said Mikvah has 2 things going against it, and wine has 2 things going against it. And the problem is that they don't match up. Because over there we said it's a vada, and by over here now we're saying it's a suffix. By Mikvah we just said that it has a status of vada, everything you burn. And by wine we just said it's only a suffix according to Shammai. It's a major problem. What's the answer to such a problem always? Machlokes. It's really not going according to the same person. You're right. It's a mandama called Reb Shimon. He's going to hold in Mikvah that it's a suffix. So suffix and a suffix, it all adds up. We had this Gemara earlier today. Even in Rishus Harabim, usually it's a tar. In other words, it's a vadai tuma. That it's a suffix tuma. We'll stop right here on Shabbos in Bnei Yeshivas at 4:45, 1:45, 4:45, 4:45.